So it's like building a profile, kind of like those dating apps. I'm passionate about ancient pottery shards and enjoy long walks through the Renaissance period.
Pretty much. Although, hopefully with less ghosting involved. But yeah, you actually get to fine-tune the experience right down to how you want the information delivered.
Okay, so walk me through it. What kind of choices do I get to make?
Well, for starters, you can tell Alice your preferred learning style. Are you a visual learner, someone who loves to read all the little plaques? Or maybe you prefer a more auditory experience?
And what if I'm just here for the gift shop?
Hey, no judgment. Alice can point you in the right direction for that, too. But the cool thing is, it caters to all kinds of museum goers.
Yeah.
Like some people like to breeze through and hit the highlights.
I've been to the Louvre, so I can check it off my bucket list types.
Exactly. While others prefer to really take their time and soak it all in.
I could spend all day contemplating this one painting crowd.
You got it. And Alice takes all of that into account. It's about respecting diverse learning styles and preferences.
It's like Alice is saying, tell me how your museum and I'll create the perfect experience for you.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because you don't just tell Alice you're interested in, say, ancient Rome.
Which, by the way, I totally am. Give me all the gladiators and togas.
You actually get to tell Alice how old you are, what kind of learner you are, even how much time you have. It's like building your own personalized museum adventure.
Okay, now that's impressive. So it's not just about what you're interested in, but also how you want to experience it.
Exactly. And just like you can customize your coffee order, Alice even lets you pick your preferred language, going beyond just English or Spanish.
Wait, really? How many languages are we talking here?
We're talking over 200 options, including things like, get this, Cockney rhyming slang. If you fancy a bit of wordplay with your history.
Okay, now that's impressive.
Yeah.
But for those of us who might not be fluent in Cockney rhyming slang...
Which, let's be honest, is most of us.
What exactly is Cockney rhyming slang?
So, for those who might not know, and I'll admit, I had to look it up, Cockney rhyming slang is this unique way of speaking that originated in London's East End. It's like a secret code where you replace words with rhyming phrases.
Okay, give me an example. How would a Cockney speaker say museum?
Well, they wouldn't actually say museum. They might say something like trouble and strife, which rhymes with wife, because apparently museums can be quite troublesome for wives.
That's hilarious. Who knew museums could cause so much trouble and strife? But seriously, it's amazing how Alice incorporates these linguistic nuances. It speaks to a broader effort to make museums more inclusive and accessible.
Absolutely. And it's not just about language, right? You can actually tell Alice what kind of delivery style you prefer. Do you want the information straight up, no nonsense, or maybe with a bit more drama and flair?
Oh, I'm all about that drama. Give me all the dramatic pauses and whispered secrets. Make me feel like I'm on a historical adventure.
Then Alice is your new best friend. It's all about tailoring the visit to your unique needs and desires. No more information overload or feeling rushed.
So no more getting trapped behind that one person who insists on reading every single word on every single plaque.
Exactly. Alice ensures you get the most out of your museum visit, on your own terms.
Okay, I'm sold. Sign me up. But how does this actually play out in the museum itself?
Well, that's where things get really exciting. Okay, so we've talked about how Alice gets to know you, your interests, your learning style, even your language preferences. But now let's get to the really cool part, how it actually changes your experience in the museum.
Because knowing you, like ancient Egypt is one thing, but how does Alice actually bring that to life?
Exactly. It's not like it can magically teleport you back in time.
Although that would be pretty cool.
Right. Sign me up for that time-traveling museum tour. But until then, Alice uses some seriously impressive technology to create a truly personalized experience.
So, no time travel. Yet, but what does it actually do? Paint me a picture.
Okay, so imagine you're strolling through the museum, and you come face to face with, say, a mummy case. Now, typically you'd be stuck with those little info cards or maybe a clunky audio guide, right?
Yeah, or you end up eavesdropping on someone else's tour group trying to discreetly blend in.
Been there, done that. But with Alice, it's a completely different story. Instead of that generic overview, you're getting a curated experience tailored to what you told Alice you were most interested in.
So if I told Alice I'm fascinated by ancient Egyptian burial rituals,
Then suddenly you're not just looking at a mummy case. Alice might use augmented reality to show you what it looked like in its original tomb, surrounded by offerings and treasure.
okay, now that's what I'm talking about. No more squinting at faded paintings on the wall, trying to imagine what it all looked like.
Exactly. And it's not just visuals either. Remember how we talked about Alice catering to different learning styles?
Yeah, like if you're more of an auditory learner.
Exactly. So, instead of just showing you the tomb, Alice might play you a soundscape, the chanting of priests, the mournful cries of mourners.
Ooh, spooky. I like it. It's like stepping into a time machine without the whole paradox risk.
Right. And get this, it can even tailor the information to your age. So, if a kid is looking at the mummy case, Alice might tell them a story about the pharaoh's pet cat, who was mummified alongside him.
Okay, that's adorable. And then for the adults, it's all doom and gloom and curses of the pharaohs.
Exactly. Well, maybe not that dramatic, but you get the idea. Alice adapts the information to make it engaging for everyone.
So it's not just personalized, it's like hyper-personalized.
Exactly. And it gets even better. Let's say you're really into hieroglyphics.
Which, let's be honest, who isn't? It's like the ultimate ancient code.
Right. So as you're admiring the intricate carvings on the mummy case, Alice might say something like, "Notice those symbols. Those represent the pharaoh's name and titles. Want to learn how to read them?"
Wait, seriously, it teaches you hieroglyphics on the spot.
Well, maybe not the whole Egyptian alphabet, but it can give you a crash course in the basics. It's like having a personal tutor right there with you.
This is blowing my mind. So it's not just feeding you information, it's adapting to your curiosity in real time.
Exactly. And if you're not interested, you can always say, "Nah, I'm good, Alice. Just tell me more about the curse."
You know someone's going to ask about the curse.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the beauty of it. You're in control. You decide how deep you want to go.
Okay, so we've got personalized audiovisual experiences, interactive elements, even mini lessons on demand. What else can this magical Alice system do?
Okay, so we've been gushing over all the amazing things Alice can do, but I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. Or maybe it's the mummy in the tomb, given what we're talking about.
You mean the whole "is technology taking over museums" debate?
Exactly. Because on the one hand, personalized experiences sound amazing. But on the other hand, is there a risk of losing that sense of wonder and serendipity that makes museums so special?
Right, because isn't half the fun of a museum just wandering around and seeing where your curiosity takes you?
Totally. Stumbling upon something unexpected, like a hidden doorway or an exhibit you didn't even know existed.
And let's not forget about those random conversations you strike up with strangers. Like, can you believe this dinosaur skeleton is millions of years old?
And they say romance is dead.
Exactly. So, how do we balance those spontaneous moments with the curated experience that Alice offers? Because it seems like we're heading toward a future where museums know more about what we want to see than we do.
It's true, and it's a valid concern. But what if, instead of replacing those serendipitous encounters, Alice actually enhances them?
Okay, now you're talking. How so?
Well, think about it. Alice is constantly learning about your interests, right? So what if, in addition to giving you the curated tour, it also acts like a sort of curiosity matchmaker?
A curiosity matchmaker. I've never heard of that job title before.
It's all about connecting you with other museum goers who share your interests. Like, imagine you're admiring a Van Gogh painting, and Alice whispers in your ear, "Hey, the person standing next to you also loves Impressionism. Maybe you should strike up a conversation."
Okay, now that's cool. It's like Alice is playing museum wingman.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe that chance encounter sparks a friendship or even a collaboration.
Or maybe just a really engaging conversation about brush strokes and the meaning of life.
Right. Because ultimately, museums aren't just about the artifacts or the paintings. They're about connecting with something larger than ourselves. And that includes connecting with other people who share our passions.
So it's not about choosing between technology and human interaction. It's about finding ways for those two things to complement each other.
Exactly. Because let's be real, technology isn't going away anytime soon. If anything, it's only going to become more integrated into our lives, including our museum experiences.
True that. So what's the takeaway here? Should we all embrace our robot museum overlords?
Not exactly. I think it's about being mindful. As we become more reliant on technology to personalize our experiences, it's important to remember that sometimes the most meaningful discoveries happen when we step outside our comfort zones.
So don't be afraid to wander off the beaten path, even if Alice tells you to turn left.
Exactly. Trust your instincts. Talk to strangers. Ask questions. You never know what you might learn or who you might meet. Because ultimately, that's what makes a museum visit so much more than just a day out. It's a chance to connect with history, with art, with culture, and with each other.
Well said. I think it's safe to say that the future of museums is looking pretty exciting.
Yeah?
And a little bit unpredictable, which is how we like it.
Absolutely. So the next time you find yourself planning a museum visit, Embrace the possibilities. Let Alice be your guide, but don't be afraid to chart your own course as well. Who knows? You might just discover something truly amazing. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, happy exploring.